Hey, what's up guys? Radku here, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. And today is going to be something funny. Allow me to elaborate. So, yesterday I was super bored, and I decided to go onto the forum and was like, yo, people, what deck should I do? Choose the most gimmicky, most terrible casually deck you can think of. And a guy commented, do Deskbot beatdown. So that's what I did. I made a combo Deskbot deck with a side note of attack boost. So, and I've been trying to take this onto ranked, but I've been getting destroyed every time, except for this one guy who is playing Dream Mirrors for some reason, but I OTK'd him with a Psychic Blade and my Deskbot 1. It was really cool. I managed to get my Deskbot 1 up to 5,000 attack, and then I had some other ones to chip around him. It was really fun. But yeah, it felt really good. Without further ado, let's jump right into the deck profile, I guess. Starting things off, I played 2 copies of Deskbot 9. I didn't really use this a lot in playtesting because even if you draw it, sometimes you won't draw into your other pendulum scale, but considering that a fourth of your deck is just pendulum cards, you'll probably draw into the 2 of them that you need. You do have your base, which can't search your Deskbot, but allows you to renew your hand. Which I wish there was a better way of searching your Deskbots, but alas. Then I play 2 copies of Deskbot 101 or 001. This card is actually really good. It's your tuner target. I didn't want to play more than 1 copy of it because I do play a bit of a Helki Fibrax engine in here. So I didn't want to overcrowd the deck with a lot of tuner monsters other than my hand trap lineup, but this is really good in this deck because the whole gimmick of this deck is to summon these weak monsters, and then they have effects to boost each other's attack by only 500, which might not seem like much, but it starts adding up really quickly. Then I play 3 copies of Deskbot 002. When it's special summoned, add a Deskbot from your deck to your hand, which is actually really good in this deck because, let's say you have 005 and 006 in your hand, and you have an 002. So you can set the pendulum scale, summon out your 002, use 002's effect to search 003, use 003's effect to special summon 001, and then you can use 001 and 003 to go into a Herald of the Arclight to set up a disruption, or you can actually use those to go into a Tatsunoku to go into synchro plays if you have an 005. Then I play 3 copies of 003, probably the best Deskbot. So recently, it's been seeing some competitive experimentation because it can summon out a tuner monster from the deck with just your normal summon. So that means it's a prime target to abuse Helki Fibrax. So it's pretty good, and it has a really good Deskbot effect. Quick effect, you can target 1 card monster you control. It gains 500 attack for each Deskbot card you control. So keep in mind that means your base, it gains attack for your pendulums, and it gains attack for all the monsters you have on the field. So you can gain a maximum of 5, 10, then an extra 25, so you could gain 6,500 off of this, which is really good. Or no, you know what? I'm too tired right now to think, but you can gain a beefy amount of attack. Plus, again, I play Psychic Blade in this deck. 3 copies of bought 005. Really the only reason I play the pendulum cards, because they're all high level. The reason I play so many copies of 005 is because, one, it's a high scale, so you want to draw into it all the time, but also you can use Tatsunoku, who can use synchro material from your hand to go into a one-card Borreload Savage Dragon. Plus, at that point in your plays, you're already going to have Hulk in your graveyard, so you can set up a few more disruptions there. Then I play 3 copies of 007. I really wanted to get a lot of copies of the high-level scales, just so that I'm always draw into them. Plus, you have effects to special summon, which means that you can, even if you didn't necessarily want to, you could use 005. 003 to search, or to special summon 002 from the deck, which can trigger off its effect, which is really, really good. Then I play 2 copies of 008. 008 isn't bad, it's just the scale 1, so that's really the only reason I play the other Deskbots. There are a few Deskbots that I left out, but this is the best Deskbot lineup to me, because you want to get as many of the pendulum monsters as you can, because if you have the pendulum monsters, you can go full combo. Then you want to have as many of, or you want to have this exact lineup of the normal monsters so that you can easily continue your plays. Then I play 3 copies of Barrier Statue of Drought. Even though Earth type is the most popular type next to Dark, this is actually really good, because most, after they dropped Adamansa Potato, most decks aren't going to be Earth type anymore. Like, Adamantipator has fallen off the map, so you won't really have to worry about that coming up in matchups. I'm saying this from a competitive standpoint, because I'm taking this into ranked, so keep that in mind. Then I play 3 copies Vash, because best generic hand trap. I didn't want to play Nibiru, because this deck does have issues getting over big boss monsters, so keep that in mind. You can get over it with, an 003 and a full field of Deskbots, but that's not really going to happen all the time. So you're going to want to have some generic disruption that doesn't put a big body on the field. Then I play 3 copies of Ghost Ogre. I really think Ghost Ogre is still one of the best hand traps, despite the fact that it's not really being played a ton right now. It's still really, really good. I would play Imperm over it, but I just didn't want to squeeze Ghost Ogre out, because the really good thing about Ghost Ogre in this deck is that once they activate the effect, you can just destroy the card, which is actually really important to this deck, because by getting rid of that card, you have more chances to attack directly. Then I play 1 copy of Terraforming to search your field spell, which the field spell is pretty important. 1 copy of Card Destruction, because this deck can brick a lot if you draw too many of your equip spells, or if you draw too many of your hand traps. 1 copy of Instant Fusion, because a Millenniumize Restrict is just a really good disruption, because this is always going to be a going second deck, because, again, I was challenged to do Deskbot beatdown, so that's what this deck is, and it always has to be going second, so being able to steal one of your opponent's monsters is actually really, really good. Then I play 3 copies of Deskbot Base. Base is actually really good. All Deskbot monsters gain 500 attack. Not exactly the best effect, but it really adds up. Then you can reveal any number of Deskbot from your hand, and realize it says Deskbot card, so if you drew into more bases, then you can renew them. Then draw the same number of cards, which means that you can help draw into your hand traps if you have a bunch of excess Deskbots in your hand, which is kind of unlikely considering the fact that you play a pretty good ratio in this deck. You can banish 9 Deskbot cards with different names from your field and graveyard, except base. Shuffle all cards in your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard into their deck. So, really powerful effect. Your opponent will have 1 card to get out of that, and you have you have your 20 Deskbots here. So even though this deck isn't link spam, it's mostly doing link plays. So you might actually have a chance of getting 9 Deskbots in your grave by the end of maybe 2 turns. And that is kind of hard to pull off, but it's really good payoff. Then I played 2 copies of Ego Boost. This was just the best 1000 gainer I could think of, because 1000 attack is actually really good in this deck, because it's double the amount that any of the Deskbots give, generically. And then for like the best generic equipped spell, 3 copies of Psychic Blade. Pretty good card. You won't really have to worry about losing because you don't have enough attack on the board, or you won't really have to worry about losing because your opponent's attacking into you, and you don't really have to worry about this life point loss, because after you go into your Deskbot OTK style, and if that doesn't OTK, then you can link, you're usually going to have your 001, 003, and maybe an 002 on the field. You can use those to go into link plays with Hulk, which means that you can set up a couple of disruptions. Even though you're not likely going to be trying to combo like that, you still can. And if you think about it, Borreload Savage Dragon is like a prime target to use as material for Skybase. But continuing from there, that is it for the main deck. The main deck is actually really cool. I want some draw spells. Tell me down in the comment section what draw spells you think I should add to the deck, because really, this deck lacks consistency, because sometimes I'll draw into my 001 and my 003, but I won't draw into my pendulum cards, so I can't really use them. And that's really important for this deck to be able to combo off like that. So going into the extra deck, 1 copy access code. This deck can pretty easily make link monsters, so having access code Talker for OTK purposes is really good. Plus, if your Deskbot equip overpower style doesn't work, then you still have access code and Boral Sword to fall onto. Yeah, 1 copy of Boral Sword for OTK purposes. 1 copy of Power Code Talker. I actually found this card while trying to make a Salamangreat deck for my friend. But this card is actually really good. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up a monster on the field, negate that target's effects until the end of the turn. Then once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you contribute 1 card. This card gains attack equal to this card's attack becomes double its original attack during the damage calculation only, which is really good in this deck, because remember, you're having you have like really you're trying to go for OTKs here, so doubling attack on a monster can be really good. I kind of wish I threw in Creature Swap now in place of Ego Boost, because what you could do is you could give them like your really weak monsters, then go into a power code with 4600 attack and just punch them in the face. Then I played 1 copy of Crusadia Equimax. So this card is really just for after your Hulk plays. You can go into this and then have some pretty beefy Deskbots next to them, like with 20-something hundred, 2000 attack. You know what I'm saying. So Equimax is actually really good. It just gains attack equal to all the cards that points to it. Monsters this card points to can't attack, but that's fine. Then once per turn, you can contribute 1 Crusadia World Legacy card. This card points to. Doesn't really matter, because it has a decent negate effect, but we don't play any Crusadia cards in here. I was actually playing a Shadal engine in this deck, and that's why we have the Shadal card in here, but ignore that for now. 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn, generic pops there. One copy of Halky Fibrax and one copy of Link Ross. And then the only other cards I play that actually go in with the combo are Borreload Savage Dragon and Herald of Arclight. Really, I play Herald of Arclight because of its banishing effect. Then it's really easy to go into with just a single Deskbot 1 and Deskbot 003. So if you want to use your OTK style, go for some big plays there, you can use that. Then in your main phase 2, just go into Herald of Arclight to sit on. Then I play I played this, you should probably cut it out for another synchro option, but what I was doing was I was playing one copy of Shaddoll Beast and three copies of Shaddoll Fusion in this deck, because the thing is that this deck is all Earth monsters, and if you draw into your Shaddoll Fusion, you can actually use that to, if your opponent controls an extra deck monster, which top deck is Dragon Link, which is a Link spam deck, Infernoble Knights, which is a Synchro spam deck, and they usually, even if they hand loop you, they're usually gonna sit on a Synchro monster, and having like Dino and top tier, they go to Dolka and Lagia by the end of their turn, which Dino can't go first. But this card is actually really good, but no one goes into it because it's too hard and they don't want to put an Earth Brick in their deck. Quick effect, you can negate must be fusion summoned. When a special summon monster activates an effect while you have a Shaddoll card in your hand, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Really, I just play it for it being a beefy beat stick. Then you can only use the effect once per turn. Then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shaddoll spell or trap, add it to your hand. Kinda useless, but I play it as a beat stick in the deck. Because, again, OTK style, you can use a Deskbot to have Shaddoll Fusion send it, but really just sub this out for something else good. Probably something in the Halky Fibrax combo that you can use, like an Auroradon, because every time I told somebody, oh, I'm playing Deskbot OTK or Deskbot Beatdown, I didn't want to go into Halky Fibrax combo, but it was just so easy in this deck that you kind of had to. So just keep that in mind. Try not to have full Halky Fibrax combo in the extra deck, but yeah. One copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict, because Instant Fusion and Millennium Eyes Restrict are great going second cards, because you can steal your opponent's big boss monster, then link this off for a Halky Fibrax, because you're usually going to have a monster on the field. Because that is really easy to pull off, plus taking one of your opponent's monsters with you, it can be really, really good. Then I play, again, one Herald, really good card, basically a Macrocosmos. I was actually going for a control style with Barrier Statues, Macrocosmo, and some other control cards, but then I realized that this deck is better for combo / OTKs, so I decided to go towards that route, because if you can set up a Herald of Arclight in main phase 2 and just sit on it, your opponent's not going to really be able to do a ton until they can get around it, which you have your equipped spells, which can work on your extra deck monsters too. Plus, this has some generic negation that you can just tribute it to do stuff, so it's really good. One Borreload Savage Dragon for negation. One Deskbot Jet. You're not going to go into it a ton. It does have a decent effect to special summon one from the deck by tributing one, and then you can destroy your opponent's monsters, which the reason that this was good is because of the old days when pendulum summoning was easier, but it's not very good anymore because pendulum summoning is hard. Really, I just hope they bring back Electromite to 1 just so that we can abuse it a bit more, because the link summoning engine isn't exactly very powerful anymore. Like, we're really losing pendulum summoning, like, as a whole, because no one wants to play it since it's so bad now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. Pretty gimmicky deck. We're pretty close to 100 subscribers. This is not the gimmick deck I'm going to show off. That I will leave that a surprise. Cough, cough, oh drama. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Peace, guys.